For decades, SAP's ERP systems have been the digital backbone of enterprises, from the early R3 and ECC ERP central component days to today's SAP S/4HANA era. Now, a seismic shift is underway in how SAP delivers ERP from on-premises software to cloud-based services. In the ERP environment, there's essentially no way around the cloud. SAP's strategy and the broader market direction make this clear. SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition is emerging as the future-oriented ERP platform for companies that want agility, continuous innovation, and minimal IT overhead. In this short course, we will explore how SAP's ERP evolution has led to the public cloud, why SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition is viewed as the future of ERP, and what that means for businesses transitioning from older systems. We'll dive into the key characteristics of the Public Cloud Edition, its SaaS model, quarterly release cycle, fit to standard philosophy, extensibility options, and scalability, and compare it to on-premise and private cloud alternatives. We'll also outline strategies for transitioning to the public cloud, including how offerings like RISE with SAP can facilitate this journey. By the end, you should understand why SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud is not just another upgrade, but a fundamentally new operating model for enterprise IT. SAP's ERP history spans over 50 years and just a handful of major generations. Each generation brought technological shifts. Mainframe-based R2 gave way to client-server R3, which evolved into SAP ECC running complex business suites. The latest generation, SAP S/4HANA, represents a leap into in-memory computing and modern user experience. Initially available as a traditional on-premise deployment, S/4HANA has steadily expanded into cloud offerings. Today, SAP offers S/4HANA in multiple forms, from on-premises editions to cloud editions, ranging from highly customizable to highly standardized. On this spectrum, SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition sits on the side of simplicity and standardization. It is SAP's true SaaS ERP offering, often positioned as the entry point for a cloud-first ERP strategy. Why is SAP pushing cloud so strongly? A few converging factors explain this direction. First is market demand for agility. Businesses today demand faster innovation and agility. Traditional on-prem ERP systems with infrequent upgrades and heavy customizations struggle to keep up. Cloud-based solutions allow companies to take advantage of cutting-edge technologies like embedded analytics and AI much sooner without waiting for long upgrade cycles. In fact, SAP has invested heavily in cloud development and is advocating that customers move in this direction to leverage these innovations. Next is SAP's cloud-first development focus. SAP has made it clear that its primary development efforts are now in the cloud versions of S/4HANA. New features, enhancements, and industry innovations are being released in S/4HANA Cloud first, with the on-premise S/4HANA getting far fewer new features going forward. Notably, SAP has shifted its focus to S/4HANA Cloud, meaning no further innovations for the on-premise edition. In other words, while SAP S/4HANA on-premise will be supported for years, SAP guarantees mainstream support until 2040. It is not the vehicle SAP plans to drive into the future. The public cloud edition is. And then the business model and cost advantage. The cloud model aligns with a subscription OpEx business model, which many companies find attractive compared to heavy upfront license and infrastructure investments, capital expenditures. For SAP, The cloud model also means a more predictable revenue stream and closer engagement with customers through continuous delivery of updates. For customers, it promises a lower total cost of ownership in many cases, since SAP handles the infrastructure and operations at scale. We'll discuss cost and TCO in more detail later, but SAP S/4HANA public cloud is marketed as a cost-effective solution due to economies of scale and no need for customers to maintain data centers or extensive IT teams for the ERP system. All these factors position SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition as a central pillar of SAP's vision for the future of ERP. In fact, SAP and its partners often describe the Public Cloud Edition as the future-ready ERP that will carry businesses forward. SAP is continuously investing in this multi-tenant SaaS version to make it more robust, functionally rich, and scalable, to the point that some experts argue it is becoming superior to traditional on-prem and even private cloud versions. For example, few SAP partners noted that Public Edition is their North Star, given SAP's significant development investment and the rapid improvements making it increasingly powerful. What makes the Public Cloud Edition so transformative? It represents a fundamental shift from a static on-premise system to a dynamic, intelligent core that drives agility rather than just recording transactions. This future-proof platform embeds AI and analytics into every business process, transforming ERP from a system of record into a system of intelligent action. Let's unpack the core reasons why SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition is seen as the future of SAP ERP. First is continuous innovation and quarterly updates. Unlike the old world of ERP where major upgrades happened every 5 to 7 years, the public cloud runs on a frequent release cycle. SAP delivers automatic updates on a quarterly basis, historically quarterly, currently 2 major releases per year with continuous hotfixes to S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition. This means customers always run a modern, up-to-date system. New functionalities, from regulatory compliance changes to entirely new features like AI-driven insights, appear regularly without a large migration project on the customer's side. The pace of innovation is dramatically faster. Companies that adopt the public cloud edition avoid the innovation lag that on-premise users face when they defer upgrades. In essence, the software is evergreen. It's always on the latest version by SAP's design. This enables businesses to continuously take advantage of improvements and modern capabilities as they are released. Next is agility and faster time to value. Because the public cloud edition emphasizes ready-to-use best practices and rapid provisioning, implementation timelines can be greatly reduced. Businesses can go live in a matter of months, not years. Traditional ERP projects often spanned years of design and customization. In contrast, SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud comes with pre-configured business processes for many core functions, allowing companies to start with a functioning template and iterate from there. This accelerates time to value, meaning organizations begin realizing benefits like process efficiencies and better analytics much sooner. The urgency of digital transformation has made this speed a critical advantage. As one observer noted, companies no longer want projects that take years to implement when faster options exist. Next, we have lower total cost of ownership, TCO. The SaaS model of S/4HANA Public Cloud can result in a lower total cost of ownership over the system's life. Infrastructure and basic operations are handled by SAP, so companies save on hardware, data center maintenance, and certain IT personnel costs. The pricing is subscription based, often user based or module based subscriptions, which can be seen as a pay as you go or pay per use models. This shifts ERP from a large capital expense to a more predictable operating expense. Additionally, because the solution is standardized, the costly custom development and integration efforts are reduced. All of this can yield a higher return on investment for the business as depicted in many SAP marketing materials. In short, organizations that can embrace standard processes often find the public cloud edition more cost effective than maintaining on-premise systems or heavily customized environments. This highlights key characteristics of S4 HANA Cloud Public Edition, a multi-tenant SaaS model that lowers TCO through shared infrastructure and offers a subscription pricing model, improving ROI, albeit with limited options for customization in exchange for agility and efficiency. Next is scalability and performance. Because S4 HANA Public Cloud runs on SAP's cloud infrastructure or chosen hyperscalers, customers benefit from virtually elastic scalability. Need to add a new subsidiary, ramp up users, or handle increased transaction volumes? The cloud infrastructure can scale up resources behind the scenes to meet demand. This is far easier than procuring and installing new servers in an on-prem data center. Moreover, SAP's public cloud runs on the SAP HANA in-memory database, which provides real-time processing and analytics capabilities that were a key selling point of S4 HANA from the start. Companies get built-in high performance for transactions and reporting. The environment also guarantees high availability and disaster recovery handled by SAP's robust data centers. In short, even smaller companies can leverage a world-class infrastructure with global availability and reliability, something that would be cost prohibitive to build on their own. SAP itself ensures compliance and security updates continuously, which is especially beneficial to organizations with limited IT resources to dedicate to these concerns. Then we have modern UX and integrated intelligence. S4 HANA Public Cloud uses the SAP Fiori user experience, a modern consumer-grade UI across devices, which improves user adoption and efficiency. But beyond UI, the public cloud edition stands out by embedding advanced technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotic process automation right into the standard processes. For example, there are features like automated invoice matching, predictive analytics for cash flow, or AI-based recommendations in various modules. Because it's cloud, SAP can roll out these innovations to all customers quickly. Businesses on the public cloud edition can immediately take advantage of these capabilities without separate installations. In a sense, subscribing to the public cloud is subscribing to a platform that is continuously enriched with the latest smart features that improve decision making and efficiency. For example, real-time analytics, AI-driven insights. This future-proofing aspect, always having the state-of-the-art technology in your ERP, is a major reason it's considered the future of SAP ERP. Next is fit-to-standard approach, adopting best practices. Perhaps the most defining characteristic of S4 HANA Cloud Public Edition is its fit-to-standard implementation philosophy. This means that instead of customizing the software to match every unique aspect of a company's existing processes, as was common with SAP ECC, the company adapts and fits its business processes to the standard pre-delivered capabilities of SAP S for HANA Cloud. SAP provides a wide range of industry best practice processes out of the box in the public cloud. Adopting a fit-to-standard mindset speeds up implementation, and ensures you can take updates easily since you haven't broken the standard with heavy modifications. It is a cultural shift. Organizations might need to let go of some old ways of working and embrace the industry standards that SAP has built into the system. The benefit is simplicity and stability. Configurations and minor extensions can address requirements, but the core remains standard. SAP S/4HANA Cloud's standardized processes encapsulate decades of SAP's experience with what works best in areas like finance, procurement, manufacturing, and so on. Companies ready to leverage these best practices can dramatically reduce complexity and focus on differentiating processes elsewhere or via extensions. Fit to standard also means that when quarterly updates arrive, the risk and effort to adopt them is much lower. No need to retrofit tons of custom code. In summary, the public cloud edition enforces a discipline of using the software largely as is, which in turn yields agility. This approach is especially appealing to organizations willing to streamline and simplify their operations to align with proven processes. And finally, extensibility without disruption. One common question is, if customization is limited in public cloud, how do we handle unique business needs? The answer lies in extensibility options. SAP S4 HANA Cloud Public Edition offers ways to extend the system without modifying the core code. There are primarily two extensibility approaches: in-app extensibility and side-by-side extensibility. In-app or key user extensibility allows authorized power users to make certain changes directly in the S/4HANA Cloud system. For example, adding custom fields, defining new business rules or logic via the built-in business rules framework, or creating custom forms and reports. These changes are made using SAP's guided tools and are upgrade safe. On the other hand, side-by-side extensibility involves building extensions on the SAP Business Technology Platform BTP that integrate with S/4HANA Cloud via APIs. For instance, a developer might create a custom app or workflow on BTP that talks to S/4HANA Cloud through web services, thereby providing additional functionality without altering the ERP core. A creative development team can leverage this side-by-side approach to achieve a lot of flexibility. While it's true that traditional ABAP customization is not available in the public cloud edition, many classic SAP development tools are absent. SAP has provided these new tools to ensure extensibility needs are met in a cleaner, upgrade-friendly way. This concept of keeping the core clean, no modifications, while extending externally is fundamental to the public cloud model. It means companies can still tailor the system, but they do so in a controlled manner that preserves the benefits of SaaS. Over time, SAP has expanded the extensibility capabilities to make the public edition more flexible. For example, allowing more custom logic with cloud ABAP environments or enhancing integration capabilities. The key point is you can meet special requirements in S/4HANA public cloud, but you do so through extension mechanisms that maintain the integrity of the standard core. Given these characteristics, it's clear why SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition is described as the future-ready ERP that transforms operations and accelerates growth, all on a secure cloud-based platform. It embodies the modern SaaS ideals: always current, standardized yet extensible and user-friendly, all while leveraging the power of SAP HANA and intelligent technologies under the hood. Companies that can embrace this model stand to gain continuous innovation, simplified IT landscapes, and the ability to focus more on business outcomes than on maintaining ERP infrastructure. In contrast, clinging to heavily customized on-premise ERP can leave organizations with technical debt, integration challenges, and an inability to quickly adopt new features. Next, let's compare the public edition with other deployment options to further clarify its unique value. As organizations chart their roadmap to S/4HANA, they often weigh three main options: staying on or moving to S/4HANA, on-premise, adopting S/4HANA Cloud Private Edition, or choosing S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition. It's important to understand how the public cloud edition differs from the other two, as this influences which path is best for a given business. Let's break down the comparisons across a few dimensions. Let's start with deployment and infrastructure. On-premise means the customer installs S/4HANA in their own data center or chosen infrastructure and manages it themselves or via a hosting partner. Private cloud, often delivered via RISE with SAP or similar, means the software is hosted by SAP or a hyperscaler in a single tenant environment. You have your own isolated S/4HANA instance, but someone else manages the hardware and infrastructure. Public cloud is a multi-tenant SaaS. Multiple customers share the same software instance with strict data isolation and standardized infrastructure managed entirely by SAP. The public edition is essentially ERP as a service. For the customer, this means minimal concern with infrastructure details. You simply log in through the internet and use the system, while SAP ensures uptime, scaling, and security in the background. In private or on-prem, you have dedicated systems giving more control, which we'll discuss, but you also carry more responsibility for things like sizing, downtime windows, and upgrades in on-prem especially. Let's now look at customization and flexibility. This is one of the starkest differences. On-premise S4, HANA offers the highest flexibility. You can modify SAP's code, add custom ABAP programs, install add-ons, and essentially tailor the software in depth, just as many did with ECC. Private Cloud Edition, particularly under RISE, also allows a high degree of customization, including classic ABAP extensions and even certain industry-specific solutions not yet available in public cloud. There are some constraints. SAP advises caution with modifications in private cloud to maintain upgradability, but they are possible. In contrast, public cloud edition has limited customization by design. You cannot alter SAP's core code. You can only do the aforementioned in-app extensions or side-by-side enhancements. It is a standardized system meant to use SAP's best practices with configuration, not modification, to adjust behavior. This means if your business requires very complex, unique processes that SAP software doesn't support out of the box, the public cloud might not be a fit unless you're willing to adapt those processes. In short, public cloud offers standardization and agility, while private cloud and on-prem provide flexibility and legacy compatibility. Many enterprises with highly specialized requirements or large portfolios of Z-Star custom programs lean toward private or on-prem to preserve those, whereas companies who see an opportunity to simplify and adopt standard processes lean toward public. Next, let's review upgrade. Release control. On-premise customers control when to take new versions. They can even skip versions for years, though that means missing out on innovation. They apply enhancement packs or upgrades on their own schedule, often infrequently due to the effort involved. Private cloud offers a middle ground. You still get updates from SAP, but typically you have more flexibility in timing. SAP might release one or two new versions per year for private cloud, and customers can choose a suitable window to apply them within a certain time frame. Public cloud, however, enforces the automatic quarterly or semi-annual updates for all tenants. There is no option to skip an update. All customers are brought to the latest release relatively in sync. SAP manages this process, usually providing a testing system in advance, release previews, etc. to help customers prepare. This means less freedom in exchange for never falling behind. The benefit is obvious. You're always on the latest capabilities. The challenge is that your IT and business users must be prepared for continuous change and testing on a schedule dictated by SAP's roadmap. The public cloud model assumes customers are willing to adopt a more continuous improvement mindset rather than big bang upgrades. Many find this acceptable given the smaller delta changes every quarter as opposed to massive upgrades after years. It's worth noting that SAP has been careful to provide tools like automated testing and detailed release notes to make this as smooth as possible. Next is features and scope. While S/4HANA's core is common, not every feature or industry solution available on-premise is in the public cloud yet, as of today. On-premise S4, HANA still has the edge in breadth of functionality, including some niche industry modules or very advanced capabilities, and it can leverage add-ons. Private cloud can theoretically include all or most of those because it's essentially the same code line as on-premise for HANA, just hosted. Public cloud has a more selective scope. It covers all standard core ERP modules: finance, controlling, procurement, sales, manufacturing, supply, chain, and so on, and a growing set of industry scenarios. But there are some advanced or niche functions that might not be available in the multi-tenant version yet. SAP has been expanding the public cloud scope each release and has also integrated it with other cloud products, for example, SuccessFactors for HR, Ariba for procurement, and so on, rather than duplicating those functions inside S4. When evaluating options, a company must ensure that the public edition's scope covers their critical processes or that acceptable workarounds exist. Often, highly regulated industries or very specialized manufacturing processes might require capabilities only offered in the private cloud or on-prem, at least until SAP adds them to public cloud. SAP's roadmap is aggressively moving more industry functionality into the public cloud, but gaps remain in some areas as of now. Next is IT responsibility and operating model. With on-premise, the internal IT or external consultants are responsible for everything: hardware, installations, patches, security, backups, monitoring, and so on, in addition to functional management. This requires a sizable basis administration team and infrastructure management. Private cloud offloads most of the infrastructure management to SAP or the cloud provider. You don't manage physical servers or basic OS, DB tasks. That's part of the subscription service. But you still have to coordinate on things like when upgrades happen, and you might have more basis tasks at the application level. With public cloud, SAP handles nearly all technical operations: provisioning systems, applying patches, performing upgrades, monitoring for performance, and ensuring security compliance. The customer's IT shifts to a role of overseeing usage and integration rather than low-level maintenance. This is a profound shift in the operating model. Your IT can focus on aligning business needs with the standard capabilities, managing configurations, orchestrating data integration between systems, and handling change management for new features, instead of daily firefighting of system issues or lengthy upgrade projects. It's a trade off of control for convenience. Some IT departments worry about losing the ability to tweak the system at will, since much is standardized and in SAP's hands. But many see it as a relief, letting the vendor's experts run the undifferentiated heavy lifting while the internal team works on higher value activities. Additionally, from a security standpoint, SAP ensures the cloud environment is up to date with the latest security patches and compliance standards, which can be comforting, especially to smaller IT teams. The flip side is that companies must trust SAP's cloud and abide by its standard procedures. For example, you can't delay an update because you're not ready. You have to be ready by the time SAP pushes it. This requires more agile IT governance internally. Finally, let's review the cost structure. We touched on this earlier, but to compare, on-premise involves upfront license purchase, CapEx, plus annual maintenance fees, and customers run it on their own hardware, CapEx for servers, storage, and so on, plus operational costs for data center, power, staff, and so on. Cloud, public or private, is typically subscription-based, OpEx. In RISE with SAP or public cloud, you pay a regular subscription fee that includes software license, support, hosting, and some bundled services. In private cloud, you might also have a single contract, especially under RISE, but the cost can be higher than public cloud because resources are dedicated. The public cloud edition is generally the most cost-effective option in terms of subscription price because it's standardized and multi-tenant. SAP can spread costs across customers. It also has the lowest implementation cost if you fit the standard, since you won't be doing heavy custom development. On-prem might appear cheaper if a company tries to sweat assets. For example, keep running an old ECC for 15 plus years fully depreciated, but the risk is falling behind on innovation and incurring rising support costs, especially after SAP support ends. Many analyses show that over a 5 to 10 year period, moving to a SaaS ERP can provide cost savings when considering total costs, including downtime risk, personnel, and so on, provided the business can work within the solution's standard bounds. Each organization needs to do their own business case, but the allure of lower TCO and converting unpredictable upgrade costs into a predictable subscription is a big factor for the cloud move. In summary, the public cloud edition is all about standardization, agility, and SAP-led operation, whereas on-premise is about control and customization with the associated burden on the customer, and private cloud is a hybrid of sorts, offering many of the on-prem capabilities, custom code, broader scope, but with cloud hosting and management. This can be visualized in a simple way. Public cloud is like living in a well-managed apartment building. Many tenants, standardized rules, maintenance by the provider. While on-prem is like owning a house, freedom to change anything, but you must fix everything yourself. And private cloud is like a single tenant condo or house managed by someone else. You get privacy and some customization, but certain things are still taken care of by the service provider. The choice between these options depends on an organization's priorities. For instance, if a company has relatively simple or standardized business processes or is willing to simplify them and wants the fastest time to value with lower IT overhead, the public cloud is often touted as ideal. It's also well suited for greenfield implementations. For example, a company that is implementing a new ERP from scratch or a subsidiary rolling out a fresh system since there is no legacy complexity to carry over. On the other hand, if a company has a lot of legacy customizations it cannot do without, complex industry specific needs, or it's doing a system conversion brownfield from an existing ECC system with the desire to retain processes, the private cloud or on-prem might be more appropriate as a stepping stone. Some enterprises might even choose a two-tier ERP strategy, keeping a robust on-prem or private instance for headquarters or complex units while deploying S4 HANA public cloud for smaller subsidiaries or new acquisitions to standardize those quickly. SAP provides options to integrate such hybrid landscapes. However, it's worth remembering the broader trend. SAP and the market are clearly signaling that the public cloud is the strategic direction. Customers delaying a move to cloud face risks like accumulating technical debt, missing out on innovation since on-premises systems miss out on continuous innovation that cloud users get, and even potential competitive disadvantage if rivals gain agility through cloud-based ERP. With ECC support ending by 2027, extended to 2030 for some, and even S4 HANA on-premise not getting new functionality beyond the current scope, staying fully on-prem is a diminishing proposition. In the next section, we'll discuss how businesses can approach the transition to S4 HANA, especially to the public cloud edition, and strategies to mitigate risks during this transformation. Transitioning from SAP ECC or other legacy ERPs to SAP S4 HANA Cloud Public Edition is not just a technical migration, but a full-scale business transformation. It requires careful planning, the right strategy or combination of strategies, and executive buy-in since it often entails re-engineering business processes to align with the new system. Let's outline key transition paths and considerations for companies aiming to embrace the public cloud edition. We will start with greenfield implementation, new implementation. This is the most common approach for moving to S4 HANA public cloud. Greenfield means you start fresh. Design your processes around S4 HANA standard best practices, migrate only the necessary master and transactional data, often using SAP provided migration tools like the SAP S4 HANA Migration Cockpit, and do not bring over old custom code or configurations. Essentially, you treat it as a new ERP deployment. This approach goes hand in hand with the fit to standard philosophy. You would conduct fit to standard workshops, a key part of SAP's Activate methodology for cloud, where SAP's pre-delivered process scenarios are reviewed with your business and you determine how to configure them to meet your needs or what gaps exist. Greenfield can be a faster route to benefit since you're not constrained by how things were done in the past, but it requires willingness to change and a solid change management program to get your organization on board with new processes. Companies often choose greenfield for public cloud because a system conversion, bringing over your existing system as is typically not feasible into a multi-tenant SaaS environment with strict standardization. Instead, if coming from ECC, you re-implement key functionality on S4 HANA Cloud. The good news is that SAP provides a lot of guidance, model company content, best practice process libraries to accelerate this, and also data migration tools to upload data from legacy systems. Greenfield also allows you to clean house. You only implement the processes you need and drop old customizations and workarounds that have accumulated over decades. It's an opportunity to start with a clean core and simplified processes. Next, let's look at selective or phased adoption. Some organizations may choose a phased approach to moving into the public cloud. For example, they might initially implement S4 HANA public cloud for certain business units, regions, or functions, while others remain on the legacy system in the interim. This can reduce risk by not big banging everything at once. One strategy is the two-tier ERP model, keeping the corporate HQ on ECC or S4 HANA private, tier 1, but rolling out S4 HANA public cloud to smaller subsidiaries or new branches, tier 2. This allows the company to test the waters with public cloud, standardize processes in simpler entities, and create integrations between the two tiers. SAP provides packages for integrating S4 to S4. Over time, the core could then move to cloud as well, or new acquisitions can be quickly absorbed by putting S4 public cloud in place for them. Another phased strategy is to move module by module. For instance, start with implementing SAP S4 HANA Cloud for finance while leaving manufacturing on the old system, then gradually bringing more scope into S4 HANA Cloud. The public cloud edition has integration capabilities, APIs, integration content on SAP Cloud Integration, and so on, to enable coexistence during such transitions. The challenge here is managing a hybrid landscape, but it can be worth it to mitigate risk. Companies should ensure strong integration and master data governance when operating in a hybrid mode. Let's now review a key consideration on preparation and process harmonization. Regardless of which implementation path, preparation is key. One critical pre-project step is to analyze your existing processes and customizations. Tools like SAP Business Scenario Recommendations or Process Discovery, now part of SAP Signavio offerings, can help identify how your current ECC system is used and where you might simplify. Many organizations take time to do a cleanup on ECC first, archiving old data, standardizing processes across subsidiaries, maybe even implementing some best practices while still on ECC so that the eventual move to cloud is smoother. Adopting standard SAP processes often requires alignment across business units, so starting that conversation early is important. Another preparation aspect is data. You'll want to clean master data, customers, vendors, materials, and decide what historical data is needed in the new system versus kept in a data warehouse or legacy archive. Simplifying your interface landscape, how many external systems connect to your ERP ahead of the move can also help, since the public cloud will use modern API and might not support older interface methods. Let us now consider leverage RISE with SAP for transformation. A key offering from SAP to assist in the transition is RISE with SAP. In brief, RISE with SAP is a subscription-based all-in-one package that bundles S4 HANA Cloud Edition, infrastructure, and transformation services under one contract. SAP markets RISE as business transformation as a service. It includes the S4 HANA software. You can choose public or private edition as part of RISE. Cloud infrastructure. SAP manages the hosting on its own. Data centers or hyperscalers. System operations and tools like the SAP Business Technology Platform for extensions. Crucially, RISE also provides access to tools for the migration like assessment tools and credits for SAP Signavio for process analysis and so on, and one set of SLA for the entire stack. If your goal is S4 HANA Public Cloud, Rise with SAP can offer the public edition in a subscription along with these extras. Many existing SAP customers, especially larger ones, have chosen Rise as a way to simplify their journey. It removes some complexity of dealing with multiple vendors and provides SAP support in re-architecting for cloud. It's described as a fully managed service to accelerate cloud adoption, designed to provide a simplified migration path. Even though Rise is often discussed in context of private edition, it indeed covers the public edition as well, with different tiers like Rise Public, Edition Base or Premium that come with certain pre-configured content. Engaging with Rise with SAP can be useful if you want SAP to be more accountable for the success of the move. You essentially work closely with SAP and/or a partner under the Rise contract to plan and execute the transformation. Rise also bundles credits for SAP BTP, which will help in any side-by-side extensions or integrations you need to build. And it includes access to SAP's business network, starter pack, Ariba, and so on to add value. In short, Rise with SAP provides a guided, supported path for moving to S4 HANA Cloud and can reduce some transition risks by putting everything under one umbrella. For mid-sized companies new to SAP, there is also Grow with SAP, a program similar to Rise but focused on net new implementations of public cloud, offering pre-configured packages for a quick start. The existence of these programs underscores SAP's commitment to getting customers onto the cloud by making the journey easier. Let's now consider change management and training. Moving to S4, HANA Public Cloud often implies significant change for end users and IT staff. End users will encounter the Fiori interface, which is a new experience compared to SAP GUI, and they will have to adapt to possibly new process steps, since you might do things the SAP standard way now. It's important to plan a comprehensive training program and maybe use SAP's Enable Now or other tools for creating tutorials for the new system. On the IT side, your developers and basis folks need to upskill on new paradigms. For example, learning how to build extensions on BTP instead of user exits in ABAP, learning how cloud security and authorizations are managed. SAP offers learning journeys and certifications for S4 HANA Cloud, which can help build that knowledge internally. The project team that implements the public cloud should include key business users to champion the change, and possibly external experts or SAP consultants who have done S4 HANA Cloud projects, since it has some different accelerators and methodology like the fit to standard workshops and use of SAP Cloud ALM for project management. Change management cannot be overstated. Since the public cloud enforces certain process standardization, some stakeholders might resist losing their familiar custom transactions or reports. It's vital to communicate the why, the benefits of the new system, and get leadership support to drive the adoption of standard processes. Many companies run internal campaigns highlighting how the modern ERP will empower users with better analytics, mobile access, and so on, to create a positive mindset. Next, let's look at technical integration and extension strategy. As part of your transition plan, design how S4 HANA Cloud will fit into your application landscape. Identify all the systems that need to send or receive data from ERP, warehouses, e-commerce platforms, legacy applications, and so on. SAP S4. HANA Cloud Public Edition primarily communicates via APIs and SAP Integration Suite. You might need to rebuild some interfaces using modern protocols. Plan out your integration architecture early. SAP provides pre-built integration content for many common scenarios, especially if the other systems are SAP cloud products like SuccessFactors, Ariba, Concur, and so on. Similarly, list any gaps where you anticipate building extensions. Perhaps you have a unique scheduling application that must tie into ERP that might be a candidate to reside on BTP and use APIs to fetch or update data in S4. Having a clear extension and integration strategy ensures that when you cut over to the new cloud ERP, all necessary satellite systems will work smoothly with it. It's often beneficial to simplify the number of integrations by retiring obsolete systems if possible during the move as part of the overall transformation. And finally, let's consider data migration and cutover. Develop a robust plan for migrating data from your old system to S4 HANA Cloud. The migration cockpit provided by SAP allows upload of data via predefined templates or direct transfer from an ECC system for certain objects. Data to migrate typically includes master data, customers, suppliers, materials, GL accounts, and so on. Open transactional data such as open invoices, purchase orders, and possibly some historical data, though many choose to not load a lot of history instead, keeping the old system read-only or extracting history to a data warehouse for reporting. Since the public cloud has quarterly release schedules, you will coordinate your cutover possibly around one of those. But SAP gives tools to refresh test systems so you can rehearse cutover steps. The go-live approach could be big bang, all users switch to new system on a chosen date, or phased by entity, but within one public cloud tenant, usually it's a big bang per tenant. Thorough testing, including user acceptance tests on the standard processes and integration tests, is critical. The advantage is that with a largely standard system, you test against known SAP best practice scenarios, but you must ensure your data and users execute them correctly. As the organization transitions, it's important to also address the shift in IT and business operating model. In a public cloud ERP scenario, the role of IT transforms from being system builders to service brokers and orchestrators. IT will work closely with the business to prioritize which new cloud features to adopt. Each quarterly release comes with a host of new capabilities. Not all may be immediately relevant, but some could be game changers. There's an ongoing innovation and adoption cycle to manage, reviewing SAP's release highlights, training users on new features, and deprecating any workarounds that a new standard feature might replace. The business, for its part, needs to get comfortable with more frequent incremental changes. This can actually increase user satisfaction if managed well, since users see continuous improvements rather than waiting years for a big bang upgrade. But it does require a mindset of continuous learning. Another aspect of the new model is governance. Because things like extensibility can now be done by key users via in-app tools, companies should set up proper governance to avoid a sprawl of inconsistent extensions. Having a cloud center of excellence or similar governing body to oversee configurations, extensions, and integrations will ensure the system remains clean and the business units don't inadvertently create silos or undo the benefits of standardization. It's also worth highlighting that SAP provides tools like SAP Cloud ALM, Application Lifecycle Management, specifically for cloud customers to manage implementations and operations, monitoring incident handling of the S/4HANA Cloud environment. Using these new tools and following SAP's recommended best practices for operations will help IT efficiently handle the cloud ERP post go live. Many tasks that basis teams did for on-prem, like daily health checks, applying OSS nodes, and so on, are reduced, but new tasks like managing quarterly update testing, whitelisting new Fiori apps for users, and more come into play. We mentioned RISE with SAP as a facilitator in the transition, but it's also integral to how SAP envisions the future operating model for customers. Under RISE, SAP essentially becomes a partner in your continuous transformation. With one hand, you receive the technology, S4 HANA Cloud and BTP, and with the other, services and support to keep evolving your processes. This is an acknowledgement that moving to the cloud is not a one-time event but a journey of innovation. SAP's message is that they will help shoulder responsibility for not just running the system but also improving your business processes via tools like process mining in Signavio, which is included in many RISE contracts. From a contractual perspective, RISE with SAP gives you one SLA and one responsible party for all aspects of the cloud stack. This can significantly reduce the complexity of dealing with multiple vendors and can speed up issue resolution, as SAP can take end-to-end accountability rather than, say, the customer being stuck between a hardware vendor, a basis support partner, and SAP if something goes wrong on-prem. It's also worth mentioning SAP's ecosystem here. While SAP runs the software in the public cloud, certified partners still play a crucial role in implementations and support. Many SAP partners have developed expertise specifically in S4 HANA Cloud Public and offer services like cloud readiness assessments, data migration, change management, and support desks for cloud customers. Engaging the right partner can make a big difference in how smooth the transition goes. SAP's active attention or value assurance services can also be leveraged for additional safekeeping of project success. In the public cloud paradigm, speed is not only about project implementation but about ongoing improvement. A great example is how quickly SAP introduced and rolled out COVID-related changes or new tax compliance updates in the cloud during recent years. Cloud customers received updates seamlessly in the next quarterly release, whereas on-prem customers had to apply notes or support packs. Likewise, SAP's roadmap items like deeper AI integration, for example, intelligent accruals, smart inventory optimization, are often released to cloud first, giving those customers an early advantage. Businesses should position themselves to exploit this by keeping an eye on SAP's quarterly release notes. SAP provides what's new documentation and webinars for each release. An internal process should be established to evaluate which new functions to activate or pilot each quarter, essentially baking innovation into the company's DNA. This is a shift from the old mindset of implement, then settle into a static system for a decade. Now it's implement, then continuously enhance the system as new capabilities arrive. Companies that thrive with S4 HANA Public Cloud treat it as a living system that grows with them. SAP S4 HANA Cloud Public Edition represents a bold reimagining of ERP for the digital age. It is not merely an upgrade of SAP ECC, it's a transformation in how ERP is delivered and consumed. By moving to a SaaS model, SAP has enabled customers to offload technical complexity and instead focus on business outcomes. The future of SAP ERP is one where systems are lighter, faster, and smarter, continuously infused with best practices and intelligent features, and accessible from anywhere with minimal fuss. Public cloud ERP embodies that future. For organizations plotting their path forward, the message is clear: standardize, simplify, and innovate. The public cloud edition forces standardization and simplification, which can be challenging at first, but it lays the foundation for agility. In return, companies get an ERP that can innovate at the pace of their business or faster. They can rapidly take on new business models or acquisitions by simply activating new cloud services without the headache of lengthy IT projects. They stay secure and compliant effortlessly as SAP takes care of updates, and their IT teams transform into innovation enablers, working closely with the business to exploit new features rather than maintaining old custom code. Of course, every company must evaluate its own needs. Some will decide that an interim step like S/4HANA Private Edition is necessary if they're not ready for full standardization. But even those companies likely see the public cloud as the eventual destination. SAP's roadmaps and investment priorities make it evident that the public edition will continue to gain capabilities and robustness, shrinking the functional gap with on-premise over time and possibly even eclipsing it with exclusive cloud-only innovations. For instance, SAP's initiatives around sustainability management, advanced AI, and business networks are tightly integrated with the cloud versions of their software. In embracing S/4HANA Public Cloud, companies are not just adopting a new technology, they are embracing a new partnership with SAP, one where SAP takes on more operational responsibility and delivers continuous improvements, while the customer steers the strategic use of the technology. This can be a very empowering model for businesses that leverage it fully. To wrap up, the future of SAP ERP is undeniably cloud-centric. SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition is at the forefront of this future, offering a modern, efficient, and innovative ERP platform for the next generation of businesses. Those who transition to it are positioning themselves to be more agile, cost-effective, and ready to leverage the latest digital innovations. The journey requires thoughtful change management and planning, but with SAP and its partners providing programs like RISE to assist, the path is well lit. As you consider the next steps for your ERP landscape, remember that this is more than an IT upgrade. It's a strategic move to future-proof your enterprise. In the words of SAP partners, S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition is not just an option, it is the future. A future where ERP is simpler, smarter, and cloud-powered.